What up, guys? So today we got a question from Nick, who's a blue belt, been training for a few years now, but he's not been the most active competitor. And he says that recently he had a competition, went out there, and he said, man, he just felt shaky. His hands felt weak, his legs felt shaky, he felt like he had like an adrenaline dump and just felt exhausted at the very start of his match, couldn't get going. It was like all the training just went right out the window, lost his match, went home, with the L, and sent me a message asking if I have any tips on how to overcome the nerves that he experienced before the match, because he looks at it and says, man, I'm just nervous. I need to overcome the nerves. And so, he sent me that message. Now, I sent him a message back, and I said, Nick, because I'll let you guys know, anytime someone sends me the message saying something about shakiness, weakness, things like that, adrenaline dumps, I always wonder what their warm-up is. So I sent him a message back. I said, hey, bro, what did your warm-up look like? And he sent me a reply back, and it wasn't much of a warm-up. And so essentially, he went out to his competition. He was cold, right? He wasn't really warmed up at all. And so I want to share this video with you guys for Nick to give him some ideas, but also for any of you guys that are newer competitors about how to not bomb and ruin your competition by just not doing the proper things before the match. If you talk to any veteran competitor, experienced competitor, accomplished competitor, 9 times out of 10, probably one of the most important things that they'll talk about is their warm-up and how important it is before the match. It's something that they really, really focus on, right? This past weekend, I was competing at the 2024 Nogi Worlds with my student and friend Brandon and Justin. And each one of us have our own slightly different warm-up routine, but each one of us have a warm-up routine that we stick to, that we've been doing, and it's what we do before our competition. So I'll share mine with you, right? Before the match, I go through this stretching routine that I have, and also some activation exercises that Eugene gave me. And then afterwards, I go through and want to do some sort of sprinting or exercise, like some burpees or something. I think of it this way. I don't know if you guys have animals like a dog, cat, or even a horse. They do it too. But they get the zoomies, don't they? Right? Like sometimes the cats will be running around the house, just running everywhere, and you'll hear them. Dogs will be running everywhere. Our horse sometimes, he'll be out in the field and just starts running, especially if he gets nervous or on edge, because you can tell when he's on edge, he'll start just running through the field, right? Well, we get like that, right? We get that energy. Look around at the competition, right? And everybody's kind of moving around. They can't stop moving and bouncing around and jumping. We're all having this energetic response if we're going to compete. And again, we have this energy and we need to get it out, right? So my first thing is I just want to sprint a little bit, jump, skip, burpees, whatever. Just do something to get the muscles to contract and get that feeling out. That typically gets rid of that shakiness that you talked about, Nick, with the legs, right? And then I go through a process of getting some rounds in, because I don't know about you, but my best round in the gym is typically not my first round. It's usually my third or fourth round, right? So what I'll do is typically around 35 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, before I will begin a process of going through about 2 to 3 rounds of drilling before I get out there on the mats. And so at the 2024 Nogi Worlds, me and Brandon were there, and we were going through, and I basically started off very light, set the timer on my phone for the duration of the match, right? Because I'm going to do a round, so set it. Master 2's 5 minutes in IBJJF, so set it for 5 minutes. We got some reps in, very light. Round 2, start to pick up the pace. And then round 3, go even harder. And then what I was trying to do was get my heart rate up into sort of the 170s, because that's where I'm going to be setting in a lot of the competition. Because when you're competing, it's not like in the gym where, you can sort of get into this nice little pace and you can go, right? You can do that to some degree in some matches, but if you have a competitor that is tough, and you guys are pushing each other and it's really close, you're cooking, man. Your heart rate is up there and you're basically sitting there for a long time because of the intensity. This is why when you go to a competition match, right, you might be able to go to the gym, compete for or train for hours, right? You can roll for an hour straight and you feel fine. You were able to keep a good pace. But then you go to a competition and you have 3 or 4 matches and your body just feels obliterated the next day. It is a different level of intensity. And so I don't want my body to have its first touch of that max heart rate when I'm actually out in the match. I want to start to feel that range when I'm off the mat. And so I have that last round, we go hard, I get a nice sweat on me, and I put my layers on to keep that warmth in my body, right? One of you guys actually came up to me at the Nogi Worlds, and you came up to me and you're like, Chewy, check this out. And you wiped the sweat off your chest. You were like, look, I watched your video. I'm got a glaze of sweat. I'm ready to compete. I talked to you later and you were talking about how, much like Nick, didn't do a good warm-up, bombed your tournament. Later on, you watch the video, like get a glaze of sweat, and then you go out there and you competed and did very well, right? And did well at the Nogi Worlds. Congratulations. So again, sharing this with you guys, right? If you compete, it's really, really important that you have a good warm-up. Your warm-up doesn't have to be my warm-up, but it's important that when you step out on the mat, your body's loose, it's warm, you have already been, like, you've had your heart rate up nice and high, you've already felt that for the day, and what you'll find, Nick, is if you do that, you'll probably find that it gets rid of the jitters and the nerves, right? Because this is what I think about. For me, there's like two different versions of myself on competition day. There is the pre-match version of myself who's, a little on edge, a little anxious, whatever. And their job, amongst other things, one of their most important jobs is to just get the body warmed up. Do that because it's that important, right? And then get me to the mat. Because once I'm on the mat, then it's like match version of myself takes over. And the match version of Chewy is completely different. They're not nervous. They're excited. They're having fun in the middle of the match. And so what I want to do is try to get my body as prepared as I can. So when the mentality of pre-match Chewy takes over and we just get after it, you guys notice that I'm talking about it in a very weird way, but a lot of times I think about it this way, and I've heard a lot of other competitors say this. Sometimes I watch myself in competitions and I'm like, look at that dude. Like, he looks really good, right? Because it's almost like I'm looking at it's someone who isn't me, right? It's like something takes over. But again, if my body's in nice and warmed up, I'll cruise through. And that's what happened at the Nogi Worlds this weekend, right? Again, I've been off for a couple of years, haven't competed in a couple of years, and got out there, was definitely nervous, a little on edge more than usual because I haven't experienced those nerves for a bit. But a good warm-up helped me out, and I went out there and did fine, competed pretty well, all things considered. Took third, would have liked to take the gold, but you win some, you lose some, don't you? But for you, Nick, that's what I would tell you to do. Next competition you do, go out there and get a good warm-up. Get nice and sweaty. Get that heart rate going, man. Really feel it before you get out of the match, and then afterwards put layers on, keep yourself warm. And I can't guarantee you anything, right? Because there's no guarantees in life, but I can almost guarantee you will find that you will feel an improvement in the way you feel when you get out on the mat. And so hopefully that helps you and anybody else that is getting ready for a competition and experiencing that shakiness. Again, this is one of the ways that a lot of newer competitors will completely bomb their competitions is by not getting a good warm-up, and so don't let that happen to you. So with that said, guys, hopefully this helps you. Talk to you next time.